Okay, we are live. Welcome, guys, to the pre-market overview, July 16th, 2020. Today is a Thursday. Hope you're having a good week in the market so far. So I'm just going to explain a couple of things. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen there. Over here. Here we go. My name is Becky. For those that didn't know, you can email me if you need to about anything I cover today at becky@tradewithufos.com. There's also the support team. You can always get those guys. They're much quicker at responding at support@tradewithufos.com. So today, obviously, we're on the pre-market overview. That's what we're doing today. If you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, which is the document we go through on the overview, you can email us, newsletter@tradewithufos.com. We'll put you on that subscription and we'll send it to you every day. And that's the document that I'm going to go through in the pre-market overview today. So a couple of reminders, obviously today being a Thursday, we have stocks at 9 a.m. and we have investing at 1 p.m. So for those of you that are joining from within the Tradictive channel, you can join us on those sessions today. Otherwise, on the weekends, we have sharpening sessions, Saturdays and Sundays, 9 a.m. Eastern. They are normally covering sort of methodologies and concepts and psychology as well. And then we have futures and options on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay, upcoming classes, we have backtesting. That is happening starting on Saturday. So that's actually me taking that class this weekend. And what backtesting is, for those that have never heard of that, it's about testing a strategy that you have into the past to see if it would have worked up until now, rather than just simply go live with something and wait for real time to pass before we see whether or not it works. So I teach you how to do that over the weekend. Then we have futures, stocks, psychology, and trading plans. So I'll let you guys have a look at those dates whilst I read the disclaimers, and then we will crack on and go into the newsletter. Okay, so the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All the symbols and trading ideas discussed are for demonstrating and are not recommendations. Active options and futures trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all traders. Past historical trading performance of real or simulated trading does not guarantee success and may not be indicative of future results. You Can Trade is an online media publication service which provides educational investment content and ideas, along with live trading demonstrations, and does not provide investment or trading advice, research, or recommendations of any kind. Please visit www.youcantrade.com for additional disclosure information. Okay, now that we've done that, let's have a look at the newsletter and go through what we're going through today. So like I said, if you're not already subscribed to get this every day, just email us, newsletter@tradewithufos.com, and we'll get you on the list and you'll get the updated version of this document every day. What we go through on the newsletter are 4 of the major markets in the world. So we're looking at the S&P, obviously one of the major equity indexes in the world, oil and gold, both commodities, and the euro, which is obviously a currency. Now, with the euro, we're looking at the euro versus the US dollar, which is the highest traded currency pair in the world, Forex being, or spot Forex being the highest traded asset class in the world, and the US dollar just by itself responsible for 80% of transactions every day worldwide. So fair to say we've covered quite a lot of what's going on out there in the markets. And even if you don't trade these markets directly or specifically, I'm sure what you trade will be linked to or correlated to these markets. You'll also notice that we're looking at a daily time frame for each of these charts. Of course, different things happen on different time frames. So if you use different time frames, it obviously might not be exactly the same, but hopefully the daily sort of correlates with something that you're doing. So for each of these markets, what we're going to look at is climate. By that, what we mean is, in what direction is a market going? Is it in an upwards environment? Is it in a downwards environment? Basically trend. Are we in upwards climate, upwards trend, downwards climate, downwards trend? Propagating gives us an idea of how long we're likely to continue being in that trend based on statistics and probabilities. We use the AutoClimate app, which is a technological app to help us find this data to tell us what the climate is and what the propagating figures are as well. We're also going to look at nearest UFOs. So UFO stands for unfilled orders. What that means is where we expect there to be a big stack of buy orders that are waiting to push price up if price ever gets there, or a big stack of sell orders that are waiting to push price down if price were to ever get there. So effectively, we're looking for where price could turn. And we're using the Auto UFO app to help us find that on our charts and to highlight to us where those orders might be. What we're also going to do is we're going to understand volatility which is the movement that we would expect on these markets, or how quick we expect them to move. We're going to go through it one by one before we come down to look at news that could impact the markets today as well. Okay, so we're going to start with the S&P. We're using the symbol SPX.X. So let's go take a look at that. Here we are, SPX.X. So you'll see at the bottom where we have these dots with little lines coming out. This is the Auto Climate app. Now, what this app is showing us at the moment is a thick blue dot. In fact, all of our markets today will be showing us a thick blue dot. Now, if the Auto Climate app shows us a blue dot, it's telling us that we're in an upwards climate or an upwards trend. If it's showing us a red dot, then we're in a downwards climate or a downwards trend. If it's a thin dot, it means it's an unconfirmed climate, so we have less probabilities. If it's a thick dot, then it's a confirmed climate, so we have more probabilities. So basically, a thick blue dot is a confirmed upwards climate, which means we would have higher probabilities of going long on this market. Now, obviously, there are other factors to bear in mind, UFOs being one of them. So the closest stack of buy orders, as highlighted here by our green UFO, is 2955.45 to 2933.59. Then we have our closest sell UFO just up here, closest red UFO. That's where there would be sell orders that we would expect price to hit and turn back down. That's at 3373.23 to 3393.52. That's the closest red UFO or sell UFO there. Okay. So coming back to the newsletter, let's understand the propagating figures for our climate. So we saw that we have a confirmed upwards climate. We show you that here by showing you a green upwards arrow. Now, if it was an unconfirmed climate, meaning that we would lose a bit of probabilities, there would be a little cross there. If I can draw that, you would see a little cross next to the arrow. As there's not a cross, we know it's a confirmed climate. So propagating, like we said, this is telling us how long we can expect to keep going in that direction based on what normally happens in these markets and based on the statistics that tell us that. So just so you know, all of these numbers to the right, regardless of what the decimal places say, I'm always going to round it to the highest, the next highest number. Okay, so in this case, what we see here is that the S&P will normally go up for 11 candles. That's the average based on the stats there, that the S&P would move up for 11 candles on a daily chart, so 11 days. And we have been going up for 10 days. So we're coming to the end of what is statistically likely for going in that direction. Now, of course, statistics are based on loads of numbers, made up of load of numbers. Of course, there are going to be anomalies. Of course, there are things that aren't 100% sticking to what the stats suggest. Of course, we can surpass that. Of course, we can go shy of it. It's not to say that all of the time it's going to hit that second number, but we just know that we have more odds in our favor if we were to have a little bit more room. So we do have a confirmed upwards climate, so odds in our favor there, and we do still have potentially a day for this market going up, statistically speaking. At the moment, as we saw, we're kind of in the middle of UFOs, nothing really pushing us in terms of orders either way, close to price right now. So let's just come down and understand the movement that we expect on the S&P. So I'm just going to explain what volatility is just quickly so that we know what we're talking about. Volatility means how fast we expect markets to move or how far we expect them to move within given periods of time. Now, we get the numbers from the options of these markets, and options, for those who don't know, are mainly traded by professional traders. Now, with options, there's going to be a risk of assignment or exercise depending on how fast these markets move. So when professional traders are buying and selling the options and therefore setting the price of them, in that is what they think is likely to happen in terms of movement. So basically the numbers that we show here are a reflection of what professional traders think in terms of volatility. So all of these numbers here under this column, current implied volatility, that's what that means, are all percentages and they're all annualized. So that shows us what we would expect in a year in terms of movement. So for the S&P, we use the symbol VIX.X. That's where we get the implied volatility numbers for this. So we can see here that we would expect a movement on the S&P either up or down in 1 year of 28.71%. Now, if we reverse engineer that, we can understand what that looks like on smaller timeframes. So in 1 day, it means we would expect a movement up or down of 58.35 points. In 1 week, we would expect a movement up or down of 128.46 points. And in 1 month, we would expect a movement up or down of 267.41 points. Again, that just gives us an idea of how fast the S&P is likely to move, either up or down. Okay, so let's have a look at oil. That's the next market we're going to look at. We're using @CL. That is the continuous futures contract for oil. So let's take a look here at CL. Okay, there we are. I'm just going to have to move the chart a little bit so we can see what we need to see. There we go. We've got a sell UFO and a buy UFO. Okay, so once again, as we see, a thick blue dot, so a confirmed upwards climate, probabilities on our side to the long side. We have our closest stack of buy UFOs. It's literally just been formed, just under current price there at 40.55 to 38.54. That's the closest stack of buy orders that could move price upwards. Closest stack of sell orders is up here. So this is being highlighted to us as a red UFO, 53.39 to 55.27. And as we can see, we're quite far from that at the moment. And we've just come off of that, that buy UFO. Okay. So understanding in terms of how long we can expect to keep going up for. What we see here is that oil would normally go up for 7 candles on a daily chart, so 7 days, and we're on day number 2, which means we've got probabilities on our side that we're likely to continue that trend to the upside, that climate to the upside. We also have a confirmed upwards climate, and we've come off of a buy UFO. So a lot of forces leading to the buy side. However, we always know sometimes new orders can come into the markets, and sometimes the markets do things unexpectedly. It's all about putting as many odds in our favor as possible. Okay, so in terms of movement on oil, what we would expect in terms of how far it's going to move up or down within given periods of time. We use OVX.X, that's the symbol that we use. And we can see here that we would expect a movement either up or down on oil in 1 year of 47.05%. Which means in 1 day, we would expect a movement up or down of 1.21 points. In a week, we would expect a movement up or down of 2.66 points. And in a month, we would expect a movement up or down of 5.53 points. Okay, so moving on to gold, that's the next market we're going to look at. We're looking at GC, that is the continuous futures contract once again for gold. Look at it on a different tab here. Okay. So we've got gold here, once again, a thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate. Closest stack of buy UFOs is here, 1668.3 to 1647.0. Now, as we said, with buy UFOs, we expect them to push price up, and we've got proof right here. That's exactly what it did. That's what we expect. Price came down into it, hit this green UFO, and then it went off from there and hasn't been back since, which is exactly what we expect from buy UFOs to push price to the upside. Then we have our closest sell UFO that it looks like we're coming up to at the moment, 1863.6 to 1879.0. Now, we said before that sometimes things go out of the norm, sometimes things go out of what is statistically likely, and we can see that very much here on gold. So what we can see here is that gold would normally go up for 6 candles on a daily chart, and we are on candle number 26. So we are very much overextended to what is usual on this market, what is statistically likely to be happening on this market. Again, of course, some things break the statistics, and we have been saying for a couple of weeks now. Be interesting to see how long this lasts. Bear in mind, we've got no sell UFOs that close. We're coming up to that sell UFO, so it might be that we get to that before we turn. But bear in mind, the longer we go in the same direction, the less likely we are to keep going in that direction. If you pull an elastic band, the more you pull it, the more likely it is to contract back on itself. So we lose probabilities for every candle that we go past the average. We're losing probability. So although we have a confirmed upwards climate, we obviously have no buy UFOs nearby, and we're overextended by quite a lot there on gold. Okay, so in terms of movement that we could expect on gold, we are using GVZ.X or GVZ.X if you are American. So the movement that we would expect in 1 year on gold is 15.36%, either up or down, which means in 1 day, a movement up or down of 17.5 points. In 1 week, a movement up or down of 38.5 points. And in 1 month, a movement up or down of 80.1 points. Okay, so last but not least, let's have a look at the euro dollar. So like we said before, this is the highest traded currency pair in the world. So we're using the spot Forex numbers for this. So Euro USD. Let's take a look here. Back to this other term, Euro USD. Okay, once again, I'm just going to move the chart a little bit here so we see what we need to see. We see our sell UFO as well. There we go. Okay, so as we can see, once again, thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate. Closest stack of buy orders as highlighted by this green UFO, 1.1342 to 1.1255. Just rounded that to the pip that it needs to be. And as we can see, we've just come off of that. We've got a buy UFO beneath it and another buy UFO beneath that, both of which have done exactly what we expect. Price came in, hit the UFO and went up. On this one, it's kind of hard to see, but price came in, hit the UFO and went up, which is exactly what we expect those to do. Closest sell orders, as highlighted by the red UFO, is 1.1740 to 1.1816. Again, just rounded that to where it needs to be with the pips. Okay, so once again, we have a climate that is propagating further than what is normal. So we can see here that usually the euro US dollar would go up for 4 candles on a daily chart, and we are on candle number 9. So again, we are more than twice overextended to the upside. Now, as we saw, we do have multiple buy UFOs beneath us and not a sell UFO for quite a way. So that might be why this climate continues to propagate further. So yes, we have a confirmed upwards climate. Yes, we have those buy UFOs, but just be aware we are going past, or we are very much past, what is statistically likely to continue to go in that direction. Okay, so we want to look at our volatility for the euro before we move on. So we look at EVZ.X or EVZ.X. So the movement that we would expect on the euro in 1 year is a movement up or down of 7.13%, which means a movement in 1 day up or down of 51 pips, a movement in 1 week up or down of 113 pips, and a movement up or down in 1 month of 235 pips. Okay, so again, what these things show us, what volatility shows us, is how far price is likely to move within given periods of time. The climate gives us an idea of in what direction and for how long, and the nearest UFOs give us an idea of where price could turn. Okay, so let's just come down here and just discuss the news that we have coming up, or reports that we have coming up that could impact us. Now we show you the week, obviously as they're updated, we send it updated. Obviously Tuesday's already happened, so this is no longer relevant to us. Today being Thursday, July 16th, we do have some news coming out, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. This is all Eastern Standard Time to do with retail sales. Now, when the news has come out, you will see that you'll have figures like here. It's all going to be in this actual column. Whilst it's blank, like we have for today and tomorrow, it's obviously because we don't have the news yet. So we don't yet know what the report was. Now, we get this information from fxstreet.com/economic-calendar, and we filter it by US markets and by high impact news. So if you want to have a look at filters outside of that, you can go to that, that link, start playing about with the filters to fit your trade plan a little bit better. Now, bear in mind, news is an indirect force in the markets. The most direct force that moves price up or down are buy and sell orders. That's it. Of course, there can be many reasons for the presence of buy and sell orders, of which news is obviously a big one. So bear that in mind, but also remember that it's not as direct as buy and sell orders themselves. So use that in your trade plan as what makes the most sense to you. Okay, so just a couple of reminders then before we round off. If you're not already part of the group, part of the team, part of the fun, then you can join us at www.tradewithufos.com/youcantrade. That's where we run our sessions every day, 2 sessions a day every day, and 1 session a day every day over the weekend. Just to say, it's a free 14-day access. So you can try us out for a couple of weeks first, see if it makes sense to you before sort of committing to anything further. We also have the next upcoming class, like we said at the start. This is over the weekend, so July 18th and 19th at the backtesting class. If you don't really understand what that means or what it does or how it can help you, then you can go to www.tradictive.com/backtesting live, and you can understand a bit more about what we cover in that class. And then just a reminder as well, you can register for any course at the moment and get an additional one for free. So the additional one that you choose has to be of the same or lesser value. So I would say just go to the website and play about with that in such a way that you can obviously make the best of that deal. Okay, so obviously today being Thursday, then we will be with you at 9 a.m. for stocks and 1 p.m. for investing. If you have any questions, need us for anything, technology issues, whatever it is, email us support@tradictive.com. And then my colleague Wayne at 4:15 p.m. Eastern will be doing the review of what did happen in the markets, what went as expected, what didn't go as expected, and kind of round it off. I'll be back again in the morning. So I hope you guys have a good day today, good trading day. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Take care, guys. Have a good day.